Late summer perennials that wow. 17 colorful flowers for August and September blooms. Hello, dear garden lovers, and welcome back to Earthly Delights, your home for inspiring, down-to-earth tips on indoor greenery and garden magic. If you're someone who loves watching your backyard transform with each season, if you find joy in nurturing beauty from soil, stem, and sunlight, or maybe you're the type who slips out with a cup of tea just to check on a new bloom, then this video is for you. Because here's the truth. Most gardens peak in spring and fizzle out by midsummer, but not yours, not anymore. Today we're diving into the secret weapon of great garden design, late summer perennials that don't just survive August heat and September fatigue. They burst into bloom when everything else has gone to sleep. These 17 colorful showstoppers are low maintenance, pollinator friendly, and perfect whether you're gardening in a city balcony, suburban backyard, or rural homestead. So if you've ever looked at your garden in August and thought, was this it? Stick around. The best is yet to bloom. And hey, if you love this kind of practical, peaceful, plant-filled content, go ahead and subscribe to Earthly Delights. Let's grow together. Part 1, the drought-tolerant powerhouses. When the sun beats down and most flowers wilt, these perennials stand tall, blooming like it's the start of spring. In this section, we'll explore plants that thrive in full sun, laugh in the face of drought, and reward you with vivid color when the rest of the garden begs for mercy. Ready to meet your garden's summer warriors? Let's begin. 1. Golden Sundrops, Coreopsis sunburst. Let's kick things off with a burst of sunshine. Golden Sundrops, also known as Coreopsis sunburst. This cheerful perennial is like planting pure happiness. It begins blooming in mid-August and doesn't slow down until October. Each flower looks like a tiny sun, beaming bright yellow even on overcast days. What makes it a dream for gardeners? It's incredibly drought-tolerant, thrives in poor soil, and needs almost no care once established. You can tuck it into borders, rock gardens, or even containers, and it will keep going strong. Pollinators, especially bees and butterflies, absolutely love it. And it's compact enough not to crowd out your other favorites. Just a little deadheading, and it gives back with even more blooms. If you've been searching for something that brings both joy and resilience to your late summer garden, golden sundrops are a golden choice. Trust me, once you plant it, you'll wonder how your garden ever went without. 2. Blanket flower, Gaillardia ex grandiflora. Next up is a true champion of late summer color, blanket flower or Gaillardia. This fiery bloom looks like it was painted with strokes of sunset. Bold reds, warm oranges, and golden yellows radiate from its petals. But its beauty isn't fleeting. Once this perennial gets going, it doesn't stop. It blooms from midsummer straight through to the first frost, often outlasting everything else in your garden. What I love most is how tough it is, thriving in dry, sandy soil, full sun, and even coastal conditions. It's practically unbothered by neglect, making it perfect for busy gardeners or those planting in hot, exposed areas. A quick tip, keep it blooming by deadheading regularly. Just snip off spent flowers and watch new ones rush in to take their place. In its second year, you'll notice it spreading wider and stronger, and dividing the clump in early spring will keep it vigorous. Blanket flower isn't just vibrant, it's tenacious, making it a must-have for any garden that refuses to fade quietly. 3. Sedum touchdown teak. Now let's talk about a plant that brings drama, structure, and rich color. Sedum touchdown teak. This isn't your average succulent. With deep burgundy leaves and clusters of dusky pink flowers, it adds a bold contrast to the garden just when everything else starts to look tired. Around mid to late August, the blooms begin to open, creating a stunning display that lasts well into fall. But the beauty isn't just on top. Its dark foliage holds interest all season long, making it a perfect companion to ornamental grasses, golden yellows, and silver-toned herbs. Sedum thrives in hot, dry spots and poor soil, and it doesn't flinch at full sun or missed waterings. Propagating it is easy too. Just snip a stem, stick it in soil or water, and roots will appear in no time. For small space gardeners, it also shines in containers. Whether planted en masse or as a striking accent, Sedum touchdown teak is one of those perennials that quietly steals the show when other plants are winding down. Part 2. Show-stopping foliage meets late blooms. Not every plant earns its place through flowers alone. Some perennials bring a double feature: gorgeous foliage that lasts all season, plus vibrant blooms that arrive just in time to save your late summer garden. In this section, we'll explore showstoppers that look amazing even before they bloom, and unforgettable once they do. For Heliopsis burning hearts, fall sunflower. One glance at Heliopsis burning hearts and you'll see how it earned its name. With fiery golden-orange petals and dark, almost black foliage, this perennial brings intense contrast and color to any late summer garden. It's not just a flower, it's a statement piece. Blooming steadily from mid-August through September, Burning Hearts is ideal for adding bold vertical height and heat-loving energy to your border or pollinator patch. It thrives in full sun and lean, well-drained soil, needing almost no attention once established. No staking required, no fussing with fertilizer. Just cut it back in early spring and watch it bounce back better each year. What makes it even more special is its ability to attract bees, butterflies, and admiring glances from every visitor. I remember planting mine near a dull corner of the fence. Within weeks, that spot became the garden's highlight. If you're looking for a plant that holds its own and keeps blooming, even in late heat, Heliopsis Burning Hearts delivers a show you won't want to miss. 5. Veronica spicata Purple Explosion. If your garden needs a jolt of bold color and elegant form, Veronica spicata Purple Explosion is your answer. This upright beauty sends up dense spikes of vivid purple flowers that rise above neat green foliage, like fireworks frozen in time. Blooming from late July into September, it adds vertical drama and a touch of sophistication to any sunny border or cottage-style garden. What's more, its blooms are a favorite among bees, butterflies, and even hummingbirds. Deadheading spent spikes can trigger a second flush, extending its flower show well into early fall. Veronica loves full sun, well-drained soil, and thrives in mixed plantings, especially when paired with silvery lamb's ear or airy grasses for texture contrast. And despite its delicate look, this perennial is surprisingly hardy and doesn't require staking. I planted mine near a garden bench, and by late summer, it became a magnet for pollinators and people alike. Whether you're designing a vibrant pollinator bed or simply need something that pops in late season light, Purple Explosion lives up to its name. 6. Anise Hyssop Agastache Blue Fortune. Let me introduce you to one of the hardest working and best smelling late summer perennials. Anise Hyssop, also known as Agastache Blue Fortune. With its soft, spiky lavender blue blooms and fragrant licorice-scented leaves, this plant is a sensory experience from August through September. The flower spikes rise above lush green foliage and draw in swarms of bees, butterflies, and hummingbirds daily. Even better, it's both drought-tolerant and deer-resistant, making it a dependable choice for just about any sunny garden bed. Planted in well-draining soil, and it will reward you with months of color and pollinator action. You can also steep the leaves for a calming herbal tea. It's not just ornamental, it's practical. In my own garden, I've seen it stand tall through dry spells when other plants drooped. Plus, its upright form and soft texture pair beautifully with bolder plants like coneflowers and rudbeckias. If you want a plant that brings fragrance, resilience, and ecological value to your late summer space, Anise Hyssop deserves a permanent place in your garden. Part 3. Color that crawls, spreads, and fills the gaps. Sometimes the most magical parts of a late summer garden happen at ground level. These perennials don't just bloom beautifully, they spread, creep, and cover, filling in the bare spots with texture and long-lasting color. If you've got empty patches, awkward corners, or edges that need softening, this section is for you. 7. Stonecrop Autumn Joy, Sedum spectabile. Few plants live up to their name quite like Stonecrop Autumn Joy. This late summer superstar starts off with pale green buds in midsummer, then gradually transforms into a flush of soft pink, deepening into rich rose, and finally rust red as fall arrives. It's like a slow-burning firework for your garden, changing color week by week. But the magic isn't just in the flowers. Its thick, succulent-like foliage creates structure all season long, even before it blooms. Autumn joy is also incredibly low maintenance. It thrives in poor soil, laughs at drought, and resists deer. It's perfect for sunny beds, borders, and even containers. One of my favorite things about it, even in winter, the dried seed heads look stunning with a dusting of frost. If you plant several together, you'll get a dense, sculptural look that anchors your whole design. It's also easy to propagate. Just break off a stem and roots will soon follow. For anyone who wants long-lasting color with zero stress, this sedum is truly a late-season treasure. 8. Aster Radin's Favoritum. If you have ever longed for a garden that holds on to summer just a little longer, Aster Radin's Favorite might become your new best friend. This charming native perennial bursts into bloom just as other flowers are fading, painting your beds in rich lavender blue from late August through October. The daisy-like flowers are small but prolific, creating a sea of color that's impossible to ignore. Bees and butterflies flock to it, making it a pollinator magnet during a time when food sources start to dwindle. It thrives in full sun and well-drained soil and can handle poor conditions better than most flowering plants. Best of all, it forms neat, bushy clumps that won't sprawl out of control. I planted it once along a garden path, and by its second year, it created a soft, fragrant border that absolutely glowed in the evening light. If you're someone who loves reliable color, gentle fragrance, and easy care, this aster will quickly earn a permanent spot in your late summer lineup. Just a little deadheading and the blooms keep coming. 9. Creeping Jenny and Yellow Loosestrife Combo. Let's talk about one of my favorite dynamic duos for ground level color. Creeping Jenny, Lysimachia numularia, paired with Yellow Loosestrife, Lysimachia punctata. Together they create a golden carpet effect that glows in the late summer light. Creeping Jenny spills gracefully over the edges of containers, rock walls, or pathways with its bright chartreuse leaves, cooling the look of hot August gardens. Meanwhile, Yellow Loosestrife stands taller, producing cheerful yellow blooms on upright stems that wave above the sea of foliage. Both are fast growers, and while they do spread, they're easy to control and incredibly rewarding. This combo thrives in full sun to part shade and loves moist, well-drained soil, though I've seen them do surprisingly well even in tougher spots. They add instant fullness and texture to garden edges, filling gaps where other plants struggle. And if you're looking for something to soften hard landscaping or hide the base of taller bloomers, this pairing works beautifully. It's an easy win for gardeners who want lush coverage and continuous color without constant care. Part 4, the purple and pink late bloom royalty. When the garden starts to quiet down, purple and pink blooms have a way of whispering elegance into the late summer air. These regal perennials bring softness, contrast, and charm, just when your garden needs a second act. Whether you're designing a cottage border or a shady nook, these next plants will keep the magic alive through September and beyond. 10. Monkshood. Chaisbam. Aconitonum arenzi. If your late summer garden needs a touch of drama and elegance, Monkshood arenzi delivers it in spades. With tall, spire-like stems topped in deep indigo purple blooms, this perennial commands attention like royalty. Its hood-shaped flowers give it a mysterious, almost Gothic charm, hence the name Monkshood. Blooming from late August into early fall, it's perfect for back borders, shady corners, or anywhere you want vertical interest without constant maintenance. It thrives in moist, rich soil and partial shade, making it a go-to for gardeners looking to add height and late-season color to cooler spots. One important note, monkshood is toxic if ingested, so be sure to plant it where pets and children won't come into contact. Still, for visual impact, it's unmatched. I once planted a row of them behind a rustic wooden bench, and by September, it looked like a scene from a storybook. If you're ready to add bold elegance to your garden's final chapter, monkshood is a striking choice that blooms when others have bowed out. 11. Japanese anemone, Honorine Jobur. There is something timeless about Japanese anemone, Honorine Jobur. With its elegant white petals and golden centers dancing atop tall, wiry stems, it brings a light, airy grace to late summer gardens. Blooming from mid-August into October, it seems to float above the garden bed, swaying gently with every breeze. This perennial is especially beloved for its ability to thrive in partial shade, perfect for those tricky spots under trees or beside north-facing walls. Once established, it spreads slowly by rhizomes, filling in gaps year after year with minimal effort. I still remember the first time mine bloomed. It was late August. The rest of the garden looked weary, and suddenly these glowing white blooms rose like little lanterns through the green. Honorine Joubert pairs beautifully with hostas, ferns, and other soft-textured foliage, adding height without bulk. It asks for very little but gives so much. Long bloom time, deer resistance, and a refined, romantic presence. For gardeners who appreciate understated beauty, this anemone is a true late-season gift. 12. Joe Pye Weed, Eutrochium purpureum. If you want to invite butterflies to your garden by the dozen, Joe Pye Weed is your go-to. Towering up to 6 feet tall with massive, dusky pink flower clusters, this native perennial is a magnet for pollinators and for admiring eyes. Blooming from late August through early fall, it's one of the best plants for adding height, texture, and wild beauty to a late summer garden. Despite its size, Joe Pye Weed is surprisingly low maintenance. It thrives in full sun or part shade and loves moist, well-drained soil, though it's tolerant of occasional drought once established. Planted at the back of borders or near fences where it can stretch its legs without overshadowing smaller neighbors. Its vanilla-scented blooms look delicate, but the plant is tough and reliable, even returning stronger each year. I once planted it near a rain barrel, and every morning in September, it would be covered in bees and butterflies. If you want something bold, natural, and deeply satisfying to watch grow, Joe Pye Weed brings late summer gardens to life. Part 5. Back of the bed scene stealers. Some of the most powerful late summer perennials aren't front and center. They're the quiet giants standing tall at the back of the garden, adding depth, structure, and unexpected bursts of color. In this section, we'll explore those bold bloomers that anchor your borders, create stunning backdrops, and make everything in front of them shine even brighter. 13. Rudbeckia goldsturm, Black-Eyed Susan. If you've ever dreamed of a plant that practically glows in the golden light of late summer, Rudbeckia goldsturm is that plant. With its rich yellow petals and bold black centers, this classic perennial brings instant cheer and warmth to any garden. It blooms steadily from August into October, even thriving through heat waves and dry spells. Plant it at the back of your border, and you'll get a glowing wall of color that stands tall and proud. What makes it a true scene stealer is its resilience. Drought tolerant, low maintenance, and deer resistant, it returns stronger each year. The more sun it gets, the better it performs. And while it doesn't need fancy soil, it absolutely thrives in well-drained conditions. I once thought of it as too common until I saw a huge drift of it backlit by the sunset. It stopped me in my tracks. Rudbeckia pairs beautifully with purples, silvers, and grasses, creating that dreamy, painterly look in late summer. It's not just a flower, it's a seasonal highlight. 14. Solidago Fireworks Goldenrod. Don't let its weedy reputation fool you. Solidago Fireworks, a cultivated variety of goldenrod, is a dazzling late summer performer that lights up the back of the garden like a golden sparkler. Its arching stems explode with fine, thread-like yellow flowers that truly resemble bursts of fireworks frozen in bloom. Flowering from late August into October, it's a favorite among bees, butterflies, and other beneficial insects. Unlike wild goldenrod, this hybrid doesn't spread aggressively, making it a well-behaved and reliable perennial for sunny borders. It thrives in poor to average soil, tolerates drought once established, and requires almost no maintenance beyond a spring cutback. I first planted fireworks behind a mass of purple asters, and the contrast was electric. Sunlight and shadow, wildness and elegance, all in one place. It also looks fantastic next to ornamental grasses, where its feathery yellow plumes play against softer textures. If you want something whole, glowing, and effortlessly graceful, Solidago Fireworks is a golden treasure for your late-season garden. 15. Physostagia virginiana, obedient plant. With its crisp spires of snapdragon-like flowers in tidy vertical form, Physostegia virginiana, also known as the obedient plant, brings order and color to the wild energy of a late summer garden. Blooming from August into early fall, it produces dense spikes of pale pink to lavender blooms that hold their shape beautifully, hence the name obedient, as each flower stays in place when gently repositioned. This perennial thrives in full sun, but tolerates part shade and prefers moist, well-drained soil. Though once established, it can handle drier spells. It's a fast grower and can spread by underground rhizomes, so it's best planted where it has room to roam or where you can keep an eye on it. I planted mine behind a row of ornamental grasses, and by the end of August, it stood like a gentle pink fence, attracting bees and butterflies nonstop. It doesn't require staking and stands tall, even in wind. For gardeners seeking late color, sturdy form, and pollinator appeal, Obedient Plant is a quietly brilliant addition to any back-of-the-bed design. Part 6, the underrated but unforgettable. Some perennials don't shout for attention. They quietly grow, bloom, and spread their beauty without demanding the spotlight. But once you notice them, you'll wonder how you ever gardened without them. In this final section, we'll explore a few lesser-known treasures that bring charm, resilience, and late summer joy in the most unexpected ways. 16. Eupatorium dubium Baby Joe, Dwarf Joe Pye Weed. If you've admired the towering presence of Joe Pye weed but don't have the space, meet its compact cousin, Eupatorium dubium Baby Joe. Standing at a manageable 2 to 3 feet tall, this dwarf variety offers the same rich, mauve pink flower clusters and pollinator appeal, but in a smaller, tidier package. Blooming from mid-August well into September, Baby Joe is perfect for urban gardens, raised beds, or container plantings. It thrives in full sun to part shade and appreciates moist, well-drained soil, though it's surprisingly adaptable once established. I tucked a few into the back corner of my patio border, and by its second year, it had become a magnet for butterflies, especially monarchs. Its upright stems never flop, and the blooms hold their color beautifully, even in hot weather. Pair it with ornamental grasses or shorter sedums for a layered look that glows in late summer light. If you're looking for big color and bold charm in a smaller footprint, Baby Joe delivers all the magic without the height. 17. Globe Thistle, Echinops retro. Closing our list with a true conversation starter, Globe Thistle or Echinops retro. With its striking spherical blooms in steely blue and silvery stems, this architectural wonder adds texture and cool color to the late summer garden. Blooming from August through early fall, it stands out beautifully among softer, more traditional flowers. Despite its bold appearance, Globe Thistle is easy to grow. It loves full sun, poor to average soil, and dry conditions. In fact, the less you pamper it, the better it performs. Pollinators can't get enough of it, and deer typically leave it alone. I planted it once as an experiment in a dry corner of the garden, and it quickly became a favorite. Tough, reliable, and visually stunning. Its spiky form adds contrast next to fluffy perennials like sedums or rudbeckias. And even when the blooms fade, the dried seed heads remain sculptural. For anyone craving a low-maintenance showstopper with a touch of the wild, Globe Thistle brings both edge and elegance to your late-season display. How to plan for late summer success. Now that you've discovered these 17 powerhouse perennials, here's how to help them truly thrive. First, start planting in spring. Most of these plants need a season to establish strong roots before showing off in late summer. Plant them early, and by next August, you'll have a garden that blooms long after others fade. Second, group plants by needs. Drought lovers like sedum, gaillardia, and globe thistle do best together in dry, sunny areas, while moisture lovers like Joe Pye weed and anise hyssop thrive in richer soil. Third, deadheading is your secret weapon. Removing spent blooms from plants like blanket flower and veronica encourages more flowering and keeps your beds tidy. Finally, think in layers. Mix tall backdrop plants with crawling ground covers and mid-height bloomers for a full, textured garden that looks intentional, even in the hottest months. Late summer beauty doesn't happen by accident. With just a little foresight and these reliable bloomers, your garden can become the envy of every neighbor still stuck in the spring mindset. Your garden's second act starts now, so here we are. 17 stunning, resilient, and colorful perennials that don't just survive late summer, they thrive in it. While other gardens are fading into shades of brown and fatigue, yours can be bursting with fresh color, new textures, and pollinators dancing through the heat of August and into September. That's the secret most gardeners miss. You don't need more plants, just the right ones at the right time. These perennials bring a second wind to your outdoor space. Whether you're tending a compact city balcony, a cottage garden, or a larger backyard haven, each of these plants offers something special. Long bloom times, drought tolerance, pollinator magic, or jaw-dropping foliage. And remember, gardening isn't about perfection. It's about rhythm, timing, and joy. Late summer is your chance to play with bold color, experiment with new textures, and stretch the beauty of your landscape far beyond July. Now I'd love to hear from you. Which plant from this list are you most excited to try? Do you already have any of these blooming in your garden? Drop a comment below and share your late summer favorites. I read every one. And if you enjoyed this video and want more down-to-earth gardening tips, seasonal plant guides, and creative ideas to keep your garden blooming all year round, don't forget to subscribe to Earthly Delights. Hit that notification bell so you never miss a blooming moment. Until next time, happy planting, and may your garden wow you every season.